So I invite you to be here with me now today because I think that this is where you're meant to be. I've always believed that life has a way of guiding us, quite amazingly, to where we need to be for the next step in our own growth. My audiences have likely never experienced what I have. They've never been kidnapped. But people everywhere relate to the themes that I'm going to be talking to you about today. How we get through the hard stuff that life throws at us that we can't see any way out of. I lived through something extraordinary. And I have something to say about getting through the challenging times. This feels like part of my purpose and my calling.
This experience that we are all having here together today, this isn't just me presenting at you, this is an exchange.
What unfolded next was like something out of your worst nightmare. About a dozen armed men emerged from where they had been hiding behind the parked car. We said into the camera exactly what they wanted us to say, which was that if the money wasn't paid in 1 week, that we would be beheaded. Everything that would come next, everything that followed was the aftermath, the punishment for the failed escape attempt. I was taken that day from the mosque to my new house. I named all of the houses that I was held in. This was the one that I named the dark house, where I would live for about 4 months. I was taken to my room. It was pitch black. I wouldn't have been able to see my hand if I tried to like this. There was a window in the room that had heavy metal shutters. Well, they were closed, but they had even gone the extra mile. They had taken black plastic garbage bags and stuffed them around the cracks of the window where any light otherwise may have come in. I couldn't move my body anymore because my kidnappers had taken a thick metal chain, wound it around my ankles, secured that with 2 big heavy-duty padlocks. That would stay on my ankles for the next 10.5 months. I could not sit up. I could not lie on my back. I could lie only on my side, on the floor. But it's in those moments in life that we start to go looking for what we're made of. These guys were both the victims and the perpetuators of violence. And that was the truth. And perfectly happy, healthy humans don't have the capacity or the desire to hurt another human being. I mean, I don't. I'm sure you all don't. So these guys were really hurting me. And the challenge to myself was to see it as, is the degree to which they are hurting me the degree to which they themselves are suffering? And if so, can I have compassion for that? In times like that, despair is the obvious thing. The despair is real, and it's big, and it's loud, and it's the easiest part of the whole story to identify with. But what I discovered in there, because I had to discover this, was that always quietly running alongside despair was resilience. It's not as loud and it's not as obvious, but it is there. But it becomes very choiceful. It is easy and seems to be more natural to lean into the despair. But that resilient part of us is always there. And what is resilience anyways? It is the hopeful part of ourself. It is the quiet center that knows this too shall pass. How do we find that part of ourself? Yes, it was a happy ending that I was released and alive and reunited with my family. But coming back after going through an experience like that, experiencing that kind of devastating interpersonal violence, living with severe post-traumatic stress disorder, which was brand new to me. I didn't understand what was happening to my brain and my body. Was very hard. I was depressed. I was suicidal at times.
What I know to be true, and I want you to really hear this, is that pain and joy and purpose can live side by side. That life doesn't start when your problems go away. That we are capable of holding it all. We are human beings who are growth-seeking beings. And pain and challenge is what forces us to grow. In fact, more than the happy and easy times. That just seems to be how it works. So, could I find any ways that I had been strengthened and enriched by all these terrible things that happened to me? It took me a long time to lean into that possibility. But when I did, it changed everything. Of course, there were gifts in that.
Things happen to us in our life, and then they're done. But the internal narrative about that thing that happened stays with us for the rest of our life. So the story we tell ourselves about what happened matters a lot. We prepare in our lives for disasters of all different kinds, don't we? All the insurance that we buy. We try to ready ourselves for what life might throw our way. But I know that not everybody is building that muscle of resilience, and it is that which carries you through. The normal trajectory of human experience is that life will bring you to your knees at some point, if it hasn't yet. How do we prepare ourselves?
There are really just two perspectives, if you want to make it really simple. Life happens to us, and from that perspective, we're just floundering around trying to deal with all the crap that life throws at us all the time. Or life happens for us. That every single thing that happens to us can be for us, can be for our own growth. The challenges that you face at work, the things you don't want those challenges to be happening. You're like, I want picture X, like that's how I want it to be. But all these other things are happening. Those things are happening for you to give you the skills that you're gonna need to get to X. They are teaching you, as life does, what you need to know to get to the next level. The big word behind me here is momentum. You build that muscle of resilience, and believe me, you don't have to go through what I did, but take it from me. You do that and it builds momentum, and that momentum will carry you.